Welcome to Eagle Complete course. In this video, we're going to start to make the schematic design of our printed circuit board. Schematic design allows us to define the logical connection between components on a circuit board. Since we already know the environment of the Eagle, let's start to make our PCB schematic design. But before that, there's one thing I should tell you when you're going to make a schematic design. When placing components on your schematic, stay with the default grid or the 0.1 inch grid. When working on the board, the grid does not really matter. But when working on the schematic, just make sure that you use the default setting of grid. By changing the value of the grid parameters in schematic editor, it will increase the chance that the wire is not connected properly on your components or devices. So, the first step, we want to add our frame to our schematic. Click the Add command. The component library window will pop up. Now, we will search for frame here. And I will choose the A size frame with 8.5 times 11 inches. And it's on landscape orientation. Then click OK. The frame will attach to the cursor of your mouse, so you can move it while moving your mouse. Then, you can left-click to place it anywhere you want. It is better to place the frame on the right up side of the origin dot, so you can do your work later on the positive quadrant. Now, after you place it, you will notice that you will have another copy of frame. Since we don't need it, we can just simply press the Escape button on your keyboard. And it will lead us to the components window again for us to choose another components for the schematic design. In the circuit, we will use PTH or plate through hole components. To ease us when we're searching the component, we can uncheck the SMD option here. So, the result that will appear is only the paths or through-hole component. The first component we need is the NE555 timer IC. So, type it on the search bar here. And we will be using the NE555 from the SparkFun library here, which uses the IP08 kit for its package. Click OK and place it on the schematic canvas. We can always place a new device here each time we left-click our mouse until we press the Escape key. Pressing the Escape key will lead us to this component library window again for us to choose the different component. We also need 4017 IC as a digital counter plus decoder circuit. I'm going to place this IC here. Then for the passive components, we need resistors and a polarized capacitor. The next important component we use is the potentiometer. This component is used to control the speed of the flashing LED. We're now looking for the potentiometer, or you can just type pot. Then, select this symbol over here. In this circuit, we're also going to use some diodes. Search diodes here on the searching column, and we're using the 1N4001 diode here. In this circuit, we need 10 diodes. So place the diodes here after you have 10. After that, we need 6 LEDs. We use this LED symbol over here. turning the circuit on and off, we also need a switching component. We're going to use the single rocker switch. And the last components we need are 2 pin heaters to plug in the power source. After all the components we need now placed on our schematic working space, we should give value to the component we use. It used to ease us when we're making the PCB layout design and when assembly the component to the PCB. To change the value, click the targeted component, then click this information symbol on the command toolbar. This action also can be done by right-clicking the component and selecting Properties. When you click the right button of your mouse while you hover the cursor on the component, you can see there are several options to modify your component. After the Properties window pops up, you can fill in the value column here. The other way to change the value of the components is by click the value command over here. For the first resistor, or R1, the value is 22,000 ohms. So here I write 22K. Then click OK. Then for the potentiometer, the value is 500,000. So write 500K and click OK. The value of the capacitor will be 1 microfarad. We can write 1 UF. So, in eagle, lowercase of U letter is a symbol for micro. And the last component symbol we'll give a value to is the second resistor, or R2. Now, it's time for wiring each component. Click the Net command and click the pin of one component, then connect it to the other component by clicking the other's component pin too. Now, I'm going to wire all the components we have. You can watch which pin I connect to which pin, and you can slow down or pause the video if you need more time to follow. So that is how we can simply make schematic design. Now in this section, I will also give some tips on how to make our design neater. Since we made a simple circuit, this design is not too complicated. But when we have to make a more complex circuit, using this previous method of wiring will confuse us. To make neat schematic design, you need to differentiate between each component. Now, I'm going to group the components to passive component, timer component, the power component, and the encoder and LED components. To make our design neater, we're not going to connect the component one by one using wire. Here, we're going to use the label. The group 1 is the passive component group. We're going to separate it using line. Then we're going to give it a name, the passive component. So that is how to make the schematic design. After you're done with your schematic design, you can move to the board design.